All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. It is Modern Micro, and I'm here to discuss a little bit about what's going on in the reprints world, but then also give a little bit of a recommendation, hashtag not financial advice, about some cards that have gotten a pullback. I haven't done a Pokemon video in a little bit, and I think these have been, just overlooked. Um, not really too much merit behind the reasoning, but it's very clear cut, cookie cutter reasoning as to why not only will these cards hold value, but then also just increase in value as time goes on. I think that's the biggest thing that we gotta look for, right? Is quality over quantity. You can have a bunch of cards that, at some point were a certain price, but if it's not quality, if nobody is in demand for it, it'll be sold off. I feel like I can relate that a lot to the stock market, where if a company had a uh, good, macro environment, something like oil stocks, but then whatever reasoning behind that pump is lost in this regard in Pokemon cards. Um, the demand for the Pokemon, the demand for the card isn't there anymore. The price will just go down, and I hope you guys really take that into consideration when buying singles, buying sealed. It really is quality. I mean, when you buy sealed packs or sealed boxes, booster bundles, booster boxes, any of that sort, you want to really have um, conviction on the underlying pack. And what I mean by that is just having it be in demand. Um, but anyways, let's get started on the singles. Let's get started on the singles. We see here Charmander from 151. I mean, it's Charmander. It's 151. These packs are insanely expensive. Um, and they just got out of print, out of block officially, uh, earlier this week. And I think this is just an easy pickup. I don't see a reason why this should have been sold off 33% from its highs of 150. But I think it's just a buying opportunity. I know there was a bullish outlook going into the block, and then it's kind of a sell the news kind of thing. But I don't see a reason as to why we would sell here, or why we would sell here. I understand maybe it shouldn't have gotten a $150 price so early on. I mean, at the end of the day, it is an IR. It's not a SIR. But look, man, it's Charmander, and it was at 150 at some point. And I know I said, oh, at some point it was this price and it won't go back up there again. The only thing is, look at this buying pressure. Look at who brought it up here: 50, 59, 58, 96, 64. And then it cooled off little by little, and paper hands got their way out. They ran out and just wanted to take small profits. I think this is a result of having that realization. It's like when a company has earnings. Always relating it back to the stock market, but it's when a company has earnings, and they had a great quarter, they had such amazing execution, right? That everybody piles in and they buy it because they know at some point it should be worth this price. But then insiders sell or institutions sell, and they're like, whoa, 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 we're getting too ahead of ourselves. Let's let these earnings marinate. Let's let macro do its thing, and let's not have this be a pump and dump. You know, this is where you want to sell covered calls. This is where you want to maybe buy puts as protection. And I think we see here we have 45 items sold this last week. starting to pick back up. I think this is a no-brainer around this $100 mark. It says market at 94, but you can't really find anything, up until, yeah, all these are tough. It's tough to say. We have here near mint at 112. I think anywhere around that 100 to $110 range, easy pickups. And it's crazy to say because 2 months ago here, mid February, we were at 80, and just about a year ago we were around the $40 mark, $50 mark. So crazy to say, but Charmander 151, easy buy, easy buy. Um, and yeah, so Charmander, I honestly think this is the best art from the Charmander line, Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. I think this is the best looking card, and I think that's why it holds a premium. But then also, it goes back to how Charmander was founded. On the top of a rock in the pouring rain, and I think that's nostalgic. And Pokemon fans are suckers for nostalgia. So nonetheless, I think $100 easy pickup here. Then you have a Charizard that is 100% overlooked, and I don't understand why. I mean, I love this chart. I kind of do understand why. The Phantasmal Flames Charizard, the recent Charizard Y, the gold card from Ascended Heroes. I get it. We have other Charizards that have came out, but come on. I mean, this is a Godzard, right? The Gigantamax, VMAX Charizard. I mean, not only is this out of print already, but I just feel like the card art is absolutely beautiful. The best card art I've seen on a Charizard. I think it's better than the Phantasmal Flames. You don't have any wording covering the card art. I just think it's beautiful, 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 beautiful. And right now it hasn't moved. I mean, we see here this original pump all the way up to 65. I'm not too sure what that was from. I think that was just, Pokemon having a insane run in that at that time. What we see here is just, consolidating here at this, $40 range, $35 to $40 range. Past 6 months hasn't gone anywhere. Past 3 months up 13%. Past month up 8%. Whatever. I think in the $35 to $40 range, you will not regret buying this card. We see this pump here up to 65. I believe it. I honestly do believe it. We have volume here, 162 cards, 135 cards, and it's a promo, guys. You have to open up. I actually don't know what. I actually don't know where this is from. Would it be the Sword and Shield box? The Charizard? Not too sure. But nonetheless, I just feel like this is a no-brainer. We have the high of 87 here sold. And I think at some point this could be a double from here. $100 card. Because it is a promo, sealed premium is gonna be there. But then also the card art is just amazing. I'm not too sure really how to preface this and have it be some sort of bullish indicator, because it is a subjective opinion. But I just think this is an easy pickup. And Charizard VMAX, Godzard, it is a Charizard at the end of the day. Yeah. I think that's just really simple pickup. Then pivoting a little bit more, we have ends plan from Black Bolt, and this is a lot more speculative, and this can in a way go lower in theory, but I just don't see a reality where, we see here during the peak of Pokemon last year around this October. I know it's a newer set, but we see here was sitting at $60 and then eventually found its bottom up to 83. And then now we're back here sitting around $60. And we have what we say in the stock market a bullish divergence where the price has stayed the same or has gone even lower, but there's volume behind it. There's people picking it up. People see quality. And I don't think this is any different. I think N's plan, you have the nostalgic Ferris wheel in the back where he confesses that he is the lord of Team Plasma. Um, and I just think with that, people would want this card. Um, Likely a very short print run for Black Bolt. That's why I'm bullish. And we just see, opportunity. I see opportunity here, not just to get back into this. Sorry, guys. Not just to get back to this $83 range, but then eventually it'll be $100 card. I'll be very honest. I think if the print run is short and Black Bolt isn't, you know, pulled all that much because people not only just don't like Black Bolt, but also I apologize, guys. I just have the feeling of sneeze. But if Black Bolt short print run not pulled enough and it gets lost behind, I think it becomes a situation of Crown Zenith, and we have opportunity of these special illustration rares to go up in value. This goes to the same. I think I mentioned the Red Victini in the past, which has gone up relatively nicely. But both Zekrom and Reshiram, they both have that same opportunity, that same nostalgic feeling, and it's a no-brainer to me. I really do like the opportunity here. Let me just look up and Zekrom promo from Ascended Heroes, and that's how that's holding up. Okay, so they found a bottom around $5 online. That is, yeah. I think this is another easy pickup. I think this is such a cool card, and it comes from a very elite pack. A very elite box, sorry. Um, so I would, quite honestly, I did not expect this to be $5. Okay, we see here near mint, 677 plus tax, $8. High price of 7. I'm really bullish on this one, and I would. Okay, so there you go. There's my fourth one for today. I think anything below $10 is the easiest pickup you can ever do. Not only are people not going to want to open Ascended Heroes just because of the value, but because there is value to the packs inside, I think the promo card can run as well. If it's scarce, if this single is scarce, I understand that a lot of people will have the box, but if the idea of Ascended Heroes is to hold, buy and hold, this single here, it will just be a lot scarce to find on the wild. And people, instead of buying a box, they'll just look for this single, which will create demand. And so I like it. I really do like it. It is a very volatile card, but I like it for the long term. And Zekrom, there you go. Now let's get into more market discussion, talking about the Prismatic and Destined Rivals ETB reprints. Prismatic Evolution SPC just came out in Canada. Um, and eventually by the end of this month will come into the States. And so if you want my take on it, people won't like it. People won't like it, but I say buy the hell out of this. Buy the absolute hell out of this SPC. If you really think that this will not just be reprinted again, but not be the biggest demand out of anything from Prismatic, I have the biggest demand from anything Prismatic. I mean, $350 for something that I can't guarantee anything in this world, but will have a floor in the future of $500 and eventually get to $1,000 box. I mean, what is the Sword and Shield Charizard going for? Let's just check there. The Sword and Shield Charizard is my favorite outlook of what is okay. Well, this is gonna be hard. Of what is the baseline for these SPCs? You know, with time, right? Okay. Well, I'm just and so I think just because of that, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful box to look at. And okay, so ultra premium collection. Sorry, guys. It's not only beautiful to have as decoration, but then also the value that's in these boxes will be elite, absolutely elite. Sorry, and the God's Art is in here. Sorry. So yeah, so God's Art in here. That's another thing. That's what I had believed was happening. Well, or was the situation? But look, it's sitting at $500, right? Sitting at $500, and I'm not 100% sure what's in these, in this box. You know, we have the 16 packs from Sword and Shield. I'm not exactly too sure what comes in it, but look, guys, I know what's in this. I know, I know what's in this. We have 15 prismatic evolutions packs. 15. 15, guys. It's straight prismatic evolutions. And I'm sorry, guys, but if you think this is a $500 box with time, right? The Sword and Shield been out of print. I understand, but you don't believe it with just with allowing time to do its thing. This will not just be a $500 box, but a $600 box. With hype, it'll be a $700 box. With Prismatic coming out of print, it'll be an $800 box. $800, we might as well pay $1,000 for it. And I think it's a very obvious play if you're thinking about it, you know, with the 5-10 year time span. And as a result, I mean, buy the hell out of it. You get a little dip from to the October highs. You know, we did have $250 before, but so what? So what? You know, higher highs, higher lows. Buy it right now. Yeah, if we see $250, average down, pay up a little bit more. I know a lot of people they just want to scalp, do this and that, but if you see opportunity, run with it. Run with it. I think it's a very obvious play. I'm thinking about rotating a little bit out and going into this just because of the opportunity costs, and it's very obvious. People are fighting over this SPC. People are. I'm not too sure if you guys seen the videos of outside of a Costco. People stayed overnight, lines longer than anything I've seen for any sort of drop, fighting over it, pouring coffee over it so other people can't resell it, other people can't hold it. This is the biggest buying opportunity in the sealed opportunity. I don't see any other sealed opportunities outside of, price per pack value. Those, kind of that kind of mindset. If you just want to talk about quality, I understand. You might not be paying the least amount for a single pack in this, but it's a super premium collection that will be displayed all over somebody's wall. I mean, hey, just think about that for a second. Nobody's going to be putting up booster bundles on their wall, but people would love to put this on their wall. People want to hold this, show it off of people, and the content in there is amazing. So that's Prismatic. Buy right now, right? That's my take. Buy right now. This is the floor for it. Around $540, $30. Most recent sale of 510, highest price of 664 for the Sword and Shield UPC. That's my floor for where this can go, and this will go. But on the flip side, we have the announcement of Destined Rivals ETB reprints. And I don't want to say I timed the top. I don't want to say I timed the top because I will not take any credit for it. I don't want to take any, a little pat on the back. I'll give myself a little pat on the back. But guys, when we're talking about $22 a pack, not to say that the Pokemon company's seen that, but it's a really obvious thing that this was not going to be worth $225. This should not have held this price for this long. Or should not have gone here this quick. I really do think this is one of the most beautiful ETBs out there, likely the most beautiful ETB. But we just gotta understand the content and the context. Not only the content that's in the pack because in the box because it is really good, but the context. Destined Rivals is one of the newest sets we have today. One of the newest sets, and we're talking about $20 a pack. Prismatic Evolutions is going out of print late this year, and it's sitting around $14 a pack, the cheapest you can get. So we're talking about $22 for a newer set, a worse set, just for display reasons. I'm not too sure. I don't agree with that, and maybe the Pokemon market seen that, Pokemon Center seen that, and Pokemon Company seen that, and they wanted to do something about it. So we have an announcement of the Destined Rivals ETB reprints. I think that will be coming out around May, June, July, in that ballpark. And as a result, people are front running it. We had seen a dip from this 225 high all the way down to this 217 low that we're sitting here now today. And I see this, if we want to look at where we want to buy this, I mean, I don't think 155 is in the bucks. It could, but I don't see that being possible at all. I think we just make a lower high or a higher low somewhere around this 170, 180 ballpark. And honestly, I think that's where I'll be buying. 180 is 170. That's really a good entry point. We have here the highs of 156. If you're able to get that price, 100% do it. I know I said overvalued. I said it ran too hard, but I did it for a reason. Like, I'm not gonna discredit this amazing box, this amazing set, just because it went too fast. That I did that problem in the stock market with Palantir. I seen it just gone up too fast. I'm like, why is it doing that? Why this company out of anything? I seen it as overvalued, but when you have an entry point down here in the 90s, in the 80s, you you don't sell here. You don't sell here because you know you have quality. You don't sell at the 120s, 110s just because it ran and it gave you a nice double or nice appreciation really quick. You hold on to that and you just see how it goes and see where consolidates. We see here the past 6 months, this thing has only gone up. And again, not to say I timed the top, I don't really believe that this will be a top for all that long. I think if we have some sort of pullback, it really would be just right here, 190s, maybe 170s, and it'll just continue going up. Um, Again, there was a reason why this was a $200 box, and we'll see how that performs in the long run. But I think nobody will go broke holding this long term. Nobody will lose out on money if you just have a long term mindset. Maybe you can wait a little bit, but don't wait that long. Don't get greedy. You know, in the stock market, prices can stay irrational for a long time, but I don't think that's the case for Pokemon right now. I think a lot of these pullbacks are buyable. I mean, when people say that Prismatic Evolutions at $400 is expensive, but then at $330 it's a steal. That's all. That's all really I can really display how any buying opportunity is there. And we even see here the floor was at 323. We're back at 340. The prices are jumping back already, and we haven't even had the US drop yet. So maybe we see a lower low here at this $300 range, maybe. But if you're buying at 330, a little 10% haircut for quality won't really matter. It won't matter. It's that simple. If you can't hold something for 10%, let alone 50%, and it's quality, why even bother playing this game? If you buy here at 330 and it fell to 250, you would be kicking yourself because it just jumped back up to 400, made a lower low of 320, 330. We'll see where it goes from there. Your entry point is now the low, and that's what time gives you. That's what time gives you in this hobby. So, Justin Rivals, I will say wait a little bit, but get greedy if opportunities come, because I won't wait all that long. And then for the Prismatic SPCs, I say right now is the best time. Possibly, maybe we have a little bit of a flash crash once these get dropped in the US, in the States. But other than that, I wouldn't wait all that long after that. Maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, but I would jump on board for that very, very, very quickly. But anyways, guys, that's been Modern Micro. That's been me. It's been a while since I've made a Pokemon video, and I want to talk on all the topics, just some singles that I see opportunity, some seal that I see opportunity, and always getting into that mindset, right, of having a long-term vision, a long-term idea of what's going to appreciate and what's going to maybe consolidate and average out to be just relatively average returns. You want the best of the best. You want the biggest alpha in this hobby. And I think what I noted today was really helpful for y'all. But anyways, it's been Modern Micro. Y'all have a good day. See you guys soon.